We'll call to order the Stephenville Town Council meeting agenda for Thursday, June 26th of 2025. Janelle, would you please take the roll call?
Councilor Barker. Here. Councilor Bragg. Here. Councilor Smith.
Here.
Mayor Michelson.
Here, and Councilmember Brown has been excused. Would you all please stand for the pledge of
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to see a good crowd here tonight. We'll move on to item number 3, public comments. These are public comments on anything not on the agenda tonight.
My issue is a little bit related to an agenda item that has nothing to do with the agenda item. I have a complaint about an employee of the town of Stevensville. I want this to be on the record. My complaint is against the Director of Public Works, Stephen Lassiter. I have sent each council member and the mayor a copy of my complaint. I posted on the Facebook page that, quote, Bob wants to close town hall at noon every Friday. The MCA is very specific about the hours city, county, state offices must be open. These are my opinions. This has to be okay before the taxpayers of this town. As we are well aware, Bob really doesn't like to follow the laws. Please come to the town council meeting on Thursday, June 26th, and voice your opinion. I know that Janelle always wanted Fridays off. Steve Lassiter answered my text with, quote, once again, you hide behind your keyboard and call names with no facts to back you up. Put this bullshit on the other page you love so well. This is a page for honest discussion. By the way, it's called Stevensville Uncensored, and truly moving forward. Come up to the podium and spew your nonsense. Even degenerates like you have that right. GTFOH. I've looked up what those letters mean and they stand for get the fuck out of here. Since I was talking about town business, Stephen Lassiter, being a valued employee, according to the mayor, was therefore responding as a representative of the town. In a further comment, he states that, quote, this has been on the agenda twice, which is incorrect. It was discussed at the last town council meeting, but it was not an agenda item. Stephen Lassiter was reprimanded just about 4 weeks ago for calling a townsperson ignorant and a child, irrational, mentally unstable, a game player. That reprimand apparently had no effect as he is continuing his disrespectful and bullying behavior unchecked. I have put a call into an attorney who is very knowledgeable about the misbehavior by town representatives. This despicable behavior must be dealt with properly and has to stop. Thank you.
Any other public comments on anything not on the agenda tonight?
Leslie Hedvick, 509 Mission Street. I guess I'm here because we got back from Arizona and it's brown in Arizona. It's brown in Stevensville too. We need to increase our water. We need to do something for these people whose yards are burning up, who are not watering anymore, who enjoy their gardens and enjoy their lawns and their flowers. And our little town is just burning up and drying away. Can we please increase the gallon? I know you have to increase the rates, which we're shocked about because we're gone for 6 months a year, and we still have to pay it. However, if it would help somebody else that they could maybe get their yard green or whatever, I would sure appreciate you looking into that because older people, me, like a green yard, we like flowers, we like our garden plants. And a lot of these people live off of their gardens. So can we increase the water?
Thank you, Leslie. Any other public comments on anything not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4, approval of minutes, town council meeting minutes, 5/22/25. If you entertain a motion, please. Councilmember Barker.
I make a motion to approve town council meetings from 5/22/2025.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilmember Smith. Do we have discussion from the council on the minutes from 5/22/25? Council good to go on the minutes? We have a discussion from the public on the 5/22/25 minutes. Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Bragg? Aye. And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number B, special town council meeting minutes of 6/2/25. May I entertain a motion, please? Councilmember Smith.
I move to accept the special town council meeting minutes of 6/2/25.
We have a motion by Councilmember Smith. Do we have a second? Councilmember Bragg.
Second.
We have a second by Councilmember Bragg. Do we have a discussion from the council on the special town council meeting minutes? Good on the council. Do we have any discussion from the public on the minutes of the special meeting? Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Bragg? Aye. And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number C, budget workshop meeting minutes, 6/11/2025. Can I get a motion, please? Councilmember Bragg.
I make a motion to approve budget workshop meeting minutes for 06/11/2025.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bragg. Do we have a second? Councilmember Barker.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a discussion from the council on the budget workshop meeting minutes? Any discussion from the public? Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Bragg? Aye. And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number D, minutes from the town council meeting minutes of 6/12/2025. Can I entertain a motion? Councilmember Smith.
Move to accept town council meeting minutes 6/12/2025.
We have a motion by Councilmember Smith. Do we have a second? Councilmember Bragg.
I second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Bragg. Do we have a discussion from the council on the 6/12/2025 meeting minutes? Good. Good. Okay, discussion from the public on the minutes. Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Bragg?
Aye.
And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Item number 5, approval of bi-weekly claims. As you see, it's item A, it's informational. There are duplicate claims, 19691 and 19702. Seeing that, we'll move on to item number B, claims 19738 to 19758. And I would ask the council to accept those claims, excluding claim number 19744. If you look at that, that's for the Montana Rural Water for $120, and that was for today. Steve and Cody were at the water class upstairs, and Cody couldn't go because they had a pump that went out down at Public Works, so she had already issued the check, so we're asking you to avoid that one.
Well, no, we just don't want to approve that claim.
Right, we want to do it because,
We just don't want to.
wait, go ahead.
I move to accept claims 19738 through 19758, excluding 19744.
That is correct. We have a second. Councilmember
Second
Barker.
the motion.
We have a second by Councilmember Barker on the claims. Do we have a discussion on the claims from the council? Councilmember Barker.
Claim number 19709, didn't we just do the dog waste depot bags?
19749.
No, 19709.
Oh, no.
We don't have 19 on here.
That's on the
information
informational
on
ones,
the
never
right.
mind. I'm on the wrong thing, sorry.
Scroll up. Right on.
Is the council good on the claims? Okay, seeing no more comments from the council, is there any comments from the public on the claims? Yes, ma'am.
Nancy Lowell, 211 Church. I just wondered how the budget's coming. This is, I don't know what the total amount for the claims, but I presume you'll be closing the books on June 30th for the end of the year. You're gonna have a lot of outstanding checks. So that was just one of my questions. So I think the budget will be due by August 10th.
Correct. Actually, on the agenda tonight, we're gonna pick two budget workshops for July, Nancy.
Pardon?
On item number L, discussion decision, schedule workshops for July on the bottom of our agenda. We're going to schedule two workshops in July. We've already had two workshops already. So hopefully they have it by the time, right, by the end of July.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
mean, yeah, we have 2 budget workshops in July, so hopefully.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilor Barker?
Aye.
Councilor Bragg?
Aye.
And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving along to item number 6, public hearings, resolution 568, a resolution of the Stephenville Town Council adopting town hall business hours for Fridays from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the town of Stephenville. So with that, this is related to this agenda item number 7. So if any public wants to get up and talk about the hours, whether you want them, whether you don't want them, you can either do it now, or you can wait until the agenda item itself and then get up and talk. So you have basically 2 bites of the apple on this. So. Nobody? Okay, then we'll move on to item number 7, unfinished business. Same thing, discussion decision, resolution 568, a resolution of the town council adopting a town business hours for Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the town of Stephenville. So with that, could I get a motion to get the discussion started?
Can I just make a quick comment? I think we've had some confusion on the public hearing on resolution number 568. This is the time for the public to get up and speak on this before we vote on it. Just so you guys, right? Correct?
But they had a chance at public hearing, like I said, and they
Right.
have a chance at this one too. when we
Right,
vote on it.
whichever way they wanted to go.
Yep.
Okay. But I think there was just some confusion, so
Oh,
I wanted
okay.
to.
Yeah, it was confusing.
Oh.
Sorry, my name is Sharon Gay, I live at.
Public hearing,
Wait.
public hearing has been closed.
Oh,
Public hearing,
Mayor. He closed the.
but you get a chance here on
Oh.
right now.
that's what I'm confused
Once
about.
the council makes a motion, the
Okay,
council discusses it, and then we move it on to the public, which is the public, and then the public can get up and weigh in on it.
Okay.
Yes. Councilmember Barker.
I make a motion to approve resolution 568, a resolution of the town, Stevensville Town Council adopting the town hall business hours for Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the town of Stevensville.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a second? Councilmember Bragg.
I second.
We have a motion. We have a second by Councilmember Bragg. Do we have a discussion from the council? Councilmember Smith.
I'd like to move that we table this until the entire council is present. This is a very necessary, not necessary, but a hot topic issue. And I believe we need all of our elected officials here.
Councilmember
I
Bragg.
would like to hear from some of the public before we table it, so that all these people who came tonight, if they want to speak, would be able to say something, and not have to come again to the next meeting.
Okay.
Keep in mind, it would not be held at the next meeting.
Okay.
I would have to, just letting you guys know, I would have to put this back out for another public hearing. Just so you know.
Would the council wish to hear from the public? Okay. Go ahead.
I need a second.
We need a second. No, we had it.
I have a, I
We
have a
didn't have a
motion
second.
from
We didn't have
Councilmember
a
Barker.
second. We can hear from the public and then we can make a motion and a second to
yes.
table it.
Right.
All we got was a motion from, we didn't get a second.
Right.
So, we hear from the public. And once we hear from the public, if the council wishes to table it, then we can start it again and get a second.
All right.
Okay. All right, go
okay
ahead.
now.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, so I mean, I do have some
Could you step
concerns.
up the podium?
Okay, sure. I mean, I do have some concerns because I already feel like when I go into town hall or when I call, there's a lot of times nobody's there to answer the phone, or, you know, somebody tells me they're gonna call me back on an issue or something and I never get that call back. So that's a concern, but I also wonder, is 40 hours for full-time employees, is that standard for CAP? Because even with the meetings, I don't think that would meet the 40-hour minimum a lot of times. So that's a couple of my concerns.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Gina King, I live at 401 Child Street, and I happen to agree, I really feel that this is a special, almost a special privilege for the town to even be able to have what we have now. I think that we need to keep this building open for the amount that has been allotted to us. I don't see a reason why we need to be changing it at this time. And I also don't see that it is something that should be decided tonight. I definitely agree that this is a very important decision that needs to be made in favor of the town, not just for the people that maybe work here. We need to be able to have access. But I really feel that this is something that we should not decide one way or the other really tonight until we have all 4 of our council members here to vote properly, that no one should be left out. But I really think that this is something that, it always kind of hits me kind of suddenly. It was like, wow, they really want to close this? So then there's a lot more issues to it than just saying, okay, we're going to close for hours on Fridays. There's a lot more that goes into that as far as like, how do you adjust the people's pay?
Yes.
That has to figure into it. They're not going to just, we can't just suddenly say, well, okay, you've got extra 4 hours added to your paycheck. You don't have to work for it. So that's something too that needs to be taken into consideration.
Thank you, Jenny. Any other comments from the public?
That feels kind of shabby. I'm concerned too about people coming in, say, to pay a fine that they have to have paid by Friday. Maybe they didn't get paid till Friday and coming in and for the judge, because they levied a fine or something. What are they supposed to do? They might not have gotten paid till 4 o'clock or something on Friday, and they need to get in here and get it paid before they get in trouble. There should be a way if the comp time is a problem that, like, say, on Tuesday, maybe one of you could come in maybe 3 hours later, or on a Wednesday, and stagger your hours so that we don't shut it down completely. What happens if some little grandma like me has a water leak and they need to get a hold of Steve and find out, why our basement's filling up? I think it needs to be public oriented. And I think that we need to take into consideration all of these things. I know these gals work hard, and I know that they have overtime coming, but I also know that, aren't you gals salaried?
Nobody's salary.
Nobody's salaried?
Nobody.
Okay, all right, I take that back. But anyway, I would be for leaving the town open. We didn't close down the hospital because somebody had a little overtime. See?
Any other comments? Nancy?
Nancy Lowell, 211 Church. The only thing that concerns me about it is I think you're opening a can of worms. I worked with a lot of people for a long time in the city, and you're setting a precedent. Who's to say they get off half a day Friday? Who's to say the cops might want off a half a day Friday? Or the sewer guys, they're going, well, we have overtime too. We were out on this water leak. I guess, why can't we go home? And I think you cannot discriminate. If that's the case, you're gonna have to let them go also. And I think you're setting a precedent that I think Hammond's opening a can of worms that I don't think you want to deal with.
Thanks, Nancy. Sue?
Oops. My big question is just what Nancy brought up. What about all the other departments? With the town hall closed, how can the public reach them if no one's here to answer the phones? Are they going to, just exactly what Nancy said? You're setting a really heavy precedence here by saying, okay, these 3 people are going to be given 4 hours a day off or 5 hours a day off. What about the other people? And can't you manage comp time? Whereas I think Nancy, or Ms. Hadvick said, come in 3 hours late, go home 2 hours early, but manage that comp time. There are only 3 employees. There can definitely be some way to arrange so that there isn't any overtime. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Any other comments from the public?
I'm Scott Butler, I'm the 210 Church, and I won't have much to say because I think it's been pretty well said here. But and I do agree with Mr. Smith here that this should be decided by the full council. And then also we need further public information as to why it is deemed necessary. And I don't think we've seen adequate discussion among council members here tonight giving any reason why or why it should not be. So I think the public needs more information on this before any decision is made. And it certainly should be before the full council, because whatever that decision, I believe you should all be held responsible for it.
Thanks, Scott. Any other comments from the public? Okay. With that, can we get a motion to table?
Considering especially the comments, all in the negative, I would like to move to table this until the entire council is present at the next council meeting.
It won't be the next, she has to put it back in the paper.
Until the next appropriate meeting.
There you go. We have a motion to table it. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion. We have a second to table it. Do we have a discussion from the council?
Not on the tabling, but I did have some
Oh,
questions
okay.
that I would have liked to have asked.
Well, you can still comment on it. It's still the same item agenda.
Okay, so some of the questions I had was, all employees leave at 12 o'clock. Have they gotten their 40 hours in? That's including your water person who is still here. We've got Janelle and we've got Gina, as well as Robert. So my question is, do they all have their time in by that time? Their
Okay.
40 hours without comp time? No comp time,
Janelle's way over by then.
okay? So if they haven't got the 40 hours in and we are closing it, that to me means every person out of that office should be gone. Nobody should be left back in the office. Is that correct? No comp time, nothing, everybody leaves. If we're closing town hall at noon, no employee should be working in town hall. And I want to know how are they getting all their hours in by noon if it is an 8 to 5 shift? What hours are they working? So I know that the office opens at 8 o'clock. They take an hour for lunch. So we have everybody, normally would work a 40-hour week. How are they getting those hours in before Friday? That's my biggest question.
I don't know if it's appropriate for me to comment at this time, so I'm not gonna comment on this.
A lot of times we don't take lunch, for one, because it's so busy. Two, we're here, so late, things are so late. I cannot speak for Janelle, I can only speak for myself. I hold 2 job descriptions. I hold HR and finance, and that is not a 40-hour week job, which is different. And so, I come in every morning and I can barely breathe sometimes, I'm so busy. So I'm only speaking for myself. So, and I know on Fridays, because we've been keeping track of it for the last, it's not that we don't want to close town hall because we don't want to be here for the public, because that's not the case. A lot of times we have no traffic coming in. So if we have Andrea, who is, our utility biller, and she helps with other things, if she doesn't have anything to do, there's no reason to make her stay. So last Friday, we had 3 people come in town hall. We had no phone calls, and none of them wanted a receipt. And that's kind of been the trend, and that's the only reason that this came up. It's not because we want to close town hall because we need to leave. It's just that when there's nothing to do, why make somebody stay here when they don't have anything to do? To me, that seems like wasted resources. So we're looking at it from a completely different side than the public is looking at it. I do know, as far as the phone calls, we returned all of our phone calls. I've never had anybody say that I've never returned a phone call. So people leave voicemails on our phone, I return our calls, we all return our calls. So I do know Public Works has an on-call phone. So
that all the telephone is there, and they're there the whole time. So, it's just, we were looking at it for being better stewards of the town's people's money, that if there isn't anything to do, why have people just sit there and twiddle their thumbs? So that's where we were coming from.
So you talk about the 40 hours with Janelle. I sent you guys a spreadsheet, Andrea ran the numbers. In 2024, the town of Stevensville had 58 meetings. 58 meetings. You normally have 24 meetings, twice a month for council meetings, correct? 24. Last year was very busy, as we all know. So every time you have a meeting, she's there. She's there like she is right now. So that's time taken away over the 8 hours. This year, we're already at 42. We're already over. So we've had 100 meetings up to tonight since last year. So we're managing it. These ladies are managing it. Like you said earlier, you want to manage time? Andrina left at noon today. There's days that Gina takes off. There's days that she goes home and takes extended lunches or takes the morning off. Nobody sees that. But they manage their time very well. You do 100 meetings and you're doing budget workshops, and we're now doing the growth policy, which is going to be, she got the email, is going to be twice a month. Doing that is a lot of meetings. And Janelle has to be here for every one of those meetings because she is a clerk. She has to take the minutes. She is the one that when the growth policy, they want records, they go to her. So she is above and beyond the time of being here. I'm not defending her, that's just, the proof is in the pudding, folks. She spends a lot of time here. She lives here. Gina's here a lot of times, nobody sees her. The issue isn't time management. The issue is, when I do my afternoon walk, I stop in here every afternoon, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every Friday, there's nobody here. Chief Bull can attest to that. He sits across. Is there a chief? There's nobody that comes in here. So my question is, okay, if there's nobody coming in here, are we doing the public a good service? If they're sitting in there, is that a waste of taxpayer money? In my estimation, sometimes it is. If you're waiting there, and I get what Leslie said, and I get somebody might call in, there could be a water break or something going on, you call town hall, you want to find out what's going on. But I'm here to tell you, on Friday afternoons, there's nothing in here. There's no phone calls, hardly anybody ever stops in, and it's just more frequent and frequent. And it isn't just ours. You look at the state government on Fridays, there's nobody there, they're moving, they're going home. You look at Washington. Fridays in local government are pretty dead across the board. They just are, just the way it is. They're not a busy day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, lots of emails, a lot of activity. Thursday, it starts to wind down. Friday, everybody can't wait to get the hell out the door and get out of there. Whether it's here or camping or. That's the crux of the whole issue of taking the Friday afternoons off. It's because there just isn't anybody coming in here. And Andrina was taking the numbers after a while, and she kept telling me, I said, how many people came in on Friday? Andrina would say, one. One person, all day. That's why we're here. It's the time management, like I say, we're doing a lot of good things for this town. These ladies are working hard. They're not out to screw the public. They're here to serve the public. They work for you, as Sue said in that email. You bet they work for you. I work for you. We're just asking for a little leeway on Fridays is all, because we see what's going on. The public doesn't see it. You can be out there and say, well, they should never close. And I will admit, when I was on the council all those years, you're damn right, I said the same thing.
Point of order. Mr. Mayor, we have a way of speaking that does not use foul language.
Okay. I apologize, Mr. Anyway, back to myself. It comes down to that. It comes down to time management. And if there's nobody coming in here, like Gina said, I don't believe we should have this, if somebody's sitting there all afternoon. She could do a lot of other things. Today, she could have went out to the cemetery, Andrina. But she was anticipating that this would probably get shot down tonight, so she'll come in tomorrow and work all day. So, anyway, that's my spiel. Councilwoman.
Just two other things I would like to address. Montana Code annotated for office hours, 7-4-102, office hours. Unless otherwise provided, this is part one, otherwise provided by law, each officer shall keep the officer's office open with the transactions of the business during the business hours determined by the governing body by a resolution after a public hearing and/or only consent to be by any affected elected county officer each day except for Saturdays and legal holidays. We fall under part number three on this. The governing body, a third-class city or town to establish may establish days and times when municipal offices are open to conduct business. Under classifications under municipalities, this is also Montana Code annotated 7-1-4111. Every city has a population of less than 5,000 or more than 1,000 is considered a city of a third class. I've kind of watched this again on Facebook. We are a third class, which means that we fall under number three, under office hours. I'm not saying that we will do anything with it, but I just wanted to let everybody know, clarification on those Montana Code annotated and how that works.
And I'd like to bring up a point to that. We tabled it until tonight because Mr. Smith sent me a deal, remember about the public hearing?
That same NCA, yes.
Yes. Per NCA, we got an opinion from Greg. Greg said, yes, we should have a public hearing. She, before that, asked Dan Clark at the local government center what it was. And Dan Clark got to her, when, Monday?
Would you like me to read what Dan Clark's response was
Yes.
for us? I suggest following the specific authority outlined in section number 3 and establish the city's office hours by a resolution. And as a courtesy, I suggest informing your county commissioner, your clerk and recorder, and your county treasurer if the city's office hours or town's office hours are to change.
There you go. According to Dan, item number 3, like you stated. But I think Dan also said we didn't need a public
We did
hearing.
not.
Doesn't matter, we're doing it anyway, we did.
Right, we did.
We'll continue
Yeah.
doing it. Any other comments from the council? Before we vote to table. Seeing none, no one, please take the vote.
Now, this is the vote to table.
Yes.
Taking the vote to table, Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Bragg.
Aye.
And Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to new business, item number 8A, discussion decision awarding the water distribution system leak detection service.
Okay, you want to
Okay.
lead it here?
I'll say it really quick. In front of you tonight, Eli with HDR has placed in front of you, and the legal term of that document is,
It's just a award recommendation letter from the engineer here, HCI. Yeah. So at your last meeting, you opened bids for some water leak detection services for your water system. You had 3 bids, all kind of on par with what we thought they'd be. One thing to note, the first, what could be the lowest bid, Scott Enterprises out of Maryland. They bid it as time and material, whereas we asked everyone to bid at fixed fee, it's one lump sum price. Theirs appeared to be the lowest, 6,000, but then they only did it for 3 days, and we got their daily rate of $2,000, putting that, kind of factoring that into like 5 to 7 days, which is what everyone else kind of estimated, and put them over. So we're recommending that you take the second, which really was the lowest, when you compare apples to apples, look them all on a level playing field there, like about a 5 to 7 day window for time in the field time. Water XYZ looks like the most qualified bidder. They're on Missoula, check references, qualifications, everything seems good, came back positive. So we as engineer recommending that you accept their bid, Water XYZ's bid for $9,500.
and the owner of that business is here tonight, if anyone has any
With that, could I get a motion to approve? Councilmember Barker.
I make a motion for awarding of water distribution systems to leak detection services
Do you want to make a motion to
to
who? XYZ?
Water XYZ of Missoula.
Okay, we have a motion to accept XYZ's bid of $9,500 for leak detection services. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Smith. Have a discussion from the council. So as you know, this was part of the ARPA grant.
Basically, this is the lowest bid now.
Well, it wasn't the lowest, but
Yeah, kind of, it's funny, really, the lowest one wasn't really qual, that didn't meet the bidding requirements because we asked them all to be.
Right, it says we have to use the best one.
Yeah, and then once you figure it in, it put it over, likely would have been over, what the lowest one is, so it's lowest.
we don't meet all the criteria.
Right.
Any other comments?
So-
Councilmember Barker.
So engineers estimate was the same type of thing?
Yeah, for the same services, we had estimated about $8,000 based on some other bids we'd seen. It was a little over that, but still within the ballpark, we think a fair estimate.
So this is no money that is out of the town, it's from the ARPA grant that we
Part of
have?
that grant.
And I should point that out too, that second sheet was the bid tab we put in, it's pretty basic, it was just one line item, one price for the whole thing, but it does show the three different bidders, and their prices.
Any other comments from the council? None? Seeing none, any comments from the public? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I'm not opposed to being rewarded, but I'd like to know more about what we're gonna find. And you mind if I pass out some literature to the people up here? It's actually your literature, okay?
Can I help you with that, sir?
Hmm?
Can I help you with that?
Yeah, here. You need one. Thank you. Yeah, they can. The handout is looking through an agenda packet. After our meeting a month ago, I finally found the utility report. And the utility report for April said gallons produced was 18,214 gallons. The month before that, in March, was 19,069, or 19,069,000 gallons. When I go back and look at the report from 2021 that HDR did, there's a table in there, water leak data. And there we wrote down the gallons produced. That's the second sheet. Gallons produced, the gallons metered, and on the far right is the percentage of non-revenue water. Now I don't think that's all leaks. I think part of that was you didn't have meters at that time, 69% of the places were metered, so some of that is meters, some of that is maybe, I think I asked the firemen when they write down how many gallons they put in the truck before they go to a fire. Well, sometimes they do that. I don't know how many gallons a fire truck happens, and I don't know how often it happens. But there's another leak. The pool, I don't think the pool was on the meter back then. I don't know if it is now. So it's not all leakage. But if you look at this report, the numbers by month, so if you take January 16, January 17, January 18, the trend is the percentage is getting higher, and that's for every month. The only ones I didn't compare is after June of 2018, because that's when the report stopped. And on 16, April wasn't included. So I think the thing that I want to get to is leakage doesn't solve the problem. We've got to calculate what the cost of the leakage is. Because with the cost, now we can go out and get proposals to fix it, because there's a way to determine the payback. So hopefully this money will allow that to happen. That's all I got. Thank you. Oh, and Larry Schaff, SCHAUFF, 1417 Creekside.
Thank you. Good point. Would you like to get up and speak?
No, he does make some very good points about what we call a water audit. And basically, yeah, calculating how much water you pump, how much water you sell, looking at the difference and what does those differences mean? Is it leakage? Is it metering inaccuracies? As meters get older, they tend to under-register, or is everything metered? Is there other unregistered uses? And those all factor in.
Well, I do have a question as far as this morning when we had our online meeting about, Steve brought up the fire hydrant. What was that, Steve? How far are they going to, how far does the leak detection go?
Yeah, like, you're gonna go from hydrant to hydrant, so.
Yeah,
Depending on.
yeah. Yeah, to begin with, yes.
But if you're 300 feet away, how far can you get?
That depends. Depends on the type of pipe and the diameter of the pipe. Sound travels through pipes and it travels at different speeds at different lengths, depending on the kind of pipe.
So we don't.
Metallic pipe, metal pipes, if you have old cast iron, I can hear a leak from 3 fire hydrants.
And then you slowly just track it.
And then track it, it gets louder and
So
louder.
we don't wanna miss anything between houses, I guess.
Yeah, if you're starting to hear like that, then you start to hone in and start to listen to curb stops. And then listen right on top of the pipe.
After reviewing, can I mention one more thing, Mayor?
What's that?
May I mention one more thing? I just put my notes in.
You may.
And this is just, it boggles me. The highest percentage months for non-revenue, December 16, December 17, March of 18. Nobody's watering that.
I have a
The lowest,
explanation for
the
that.
lowest is August 17, August 16, and June 16.
I can explain that.
Okay.
Basically, the percent loss calculation is kind of a flawed metric for calculating water leakage. Basically, the more water that you're pumping and moving through the system, the lower that percent loss is. Your system is going to be leaking usually about the same volume of water, no matter what, but in the summer, you have irrigation. You're pumping more water and selling more water, so that percent loss will go down.
Okay. Yes, I was thinking if the more, you got a green lawn, you're not leaking.
Yeah.
A lot of times, they'll flush, they have to flush pipes, that's all lost water too. Like, a lot of, they won't do that, they don't like to do that during the peak times because then you're just losing water you need, so you can do it in those down times, like December and things like that, when you don't have that demand, so you can, you're wasting it, but something you have to do to keep the system, cleaned out.
Before, I wouldn't think you'd be cleaning the fire hose in December.
Yeah, but maybe I should use this, say March, yeah.
A quick rate, so if you pump 5 million gallons and you sell 4 million gallons, there's a discrepancy of 1 million gallons. Okay, say for example, a brewery goes into town that is suddenly using 1 million gallons. Now you're pumping 6 million gallons, you're selling 5 million gallons, you still have 1 million gallon difference. The first example, you're percent loss is 20%. The second example is 18%. You're just moving more water through your system, so the percent loss goes down.
And the other part that I didn't have is what you are metering. Now, I know what you're pumping now, but I don't know what you're metering. And I don't know if your computer system's got something that adds up all the bills, I don't know, 900 and 800 and some. Hit a button and tell you what you've billed in gallons. It's on my bill. And I don't know if it's not there, if you can get to whoever writes that program for you and put it in there. But somehow, back in 2021, you got that information. You got both metered water and produced water, which came up with the percentage, so.
Yeah, that gets into,
That's
it's
all
all
the
the
numbers
water,
you can figure
and it's a bit of a process. That's something else that we do.
Okay.
Done a lot of those. It's not included in this bid, but that is something that, you know.
It's a question, I know that you know, just like the 3 years I worked with you, guys replaced a lot, there was a lot of unmetered just residents, and I think you got that down.
Yeah, that'll change.
Going on in the background. And
Well,
really putting down
I think that's 730?
7 meters is all,
To 7.
237 now.
From 180 down to 7.
When I first got here, it was over 200.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'll throw the numbers off a lot.
Councilmember Smith.
Did you say earlier that this is being funded by a grant?
Yeah, Barbara.
Right, okay. And my other comment is, in the newer areas, we know the leakage is minimal. The older areas of Stevensville, I'm here to tell you, it's leaking.
Tends to be.
And this leak detection needs to find it unless you have it fixed. That's treated water that's just going back into the ground. That's costing.
Electricity for the pumps, it's costing good money.
Mhm.
Any other comments from the council? See, one, now we'll take a vote.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Bragg, and Councilmember Barber.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number C, opening bids for IT. No, B, opening bids for water system, telemetry system replacement, SCADA. This is also.
So same process, correct, Mayor? We're going to open tonight. In this case, then, after I read that amount, we received 1. And then I will scan this over to Eli for review, and then this will come back for a bid award on July 8th at 5:30. And you guys received that meeting invite as well. We had to pull a special meeting. Okay, this is from Neely Electric. And they are out of Missoula, Montana.
Say the name again, please.
Neely, Neely
Neely.
Electric, out of Missoula, Montana. Bear with me, please. I'm hoping, because it's on. Okay. Total base bid price, $186,613.00.
Want to repeat that for me, please?
You sure can. $186,613.00. What's that? And then additive alternate bid schedule Master SCADA workstation and software at the wastewater treatment plant, $29,455.00. Well one telemetry control panel, $46,757.00. And well one telemetry control panel installation, $11,450.00.
And this is all covered by the ARPA grant also.
Mayor, may I ask Eli a question?
You bet.
Eli said that total base bid price of the $186,000, and then you include the next three in total, is that correct?
Yes, so the way we wrote it was, I think this, so my budget, I don't know what that's all in here, but it was, you want to use up all that grant money. So the idea is we got the base bid, and that was kind of what needed to be done to get it all in.
Okay.
And then the alternate items were ones that you could just go down the list, we just, listed it kind of accordingly. So you could go down the list and kind of add on as many as you could, and, with the funds available to use up all that grant money. If we come back, so.
Thank you for explaining that.
I think she's been giving us a total.
So total, if you were to include those add-ons, those three that we listed at the end, $274,275.00.
Read that number one more time, please.
$274,275.00. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the council?
It's the only bid. It's the only bid.
That was the only bid.
Yes.
She'll send it to Eli, Eli will review it, and we'll bring it back, as she said at the special meeting on.
We're kind of going to sneak out too, but thanks for having me. If there's no more questions.
Thank you, Eli.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eli. Keep up the good work. Okay, we're moving on to item number C, whenever you're ready to know.
Opening bids for IT services.
Correct.
Are you ready? Yep. Okay, we received two. One was from, our current IT provider, First Call. So we have monthly reoccurring $2,500.00. And Mayor, we're gonna do the same thing, correct? You and administration are going to review these, and then they will come back to the meeting on July 10th for awarding of the bid. Okay? Can you double check that for me? I feel like there should be one more that goes along with this. Just a second. So there is also another section that comes along with our IT services, and that is the cybersecurity portion of that. And that is a monthly fee of $2,500. So total for IT services is $5,000, 0 cents per month.
And what are we paying now?
That was Rivers Clark, correct?
Correct.
That's one we're dealing with right now.
Mhm.
They might have raised it.
Is that part of our IT or do you recommend?
And then I'm gonna give you one more amount. This is our annual subscription for our Microsoft 365. And our total per month, correct, in all, $641 per month.
We're paying 56.41 to First Call if we were to accept this.
Correct. And the second one that we received, if you guys are ready for me to go on.
Go ahead.
Sure. Rico IT Services,
Who is it?
Rico,
Rico.
RICOH. They have multiple locations. They do have, I guess you could call it a branch in Missoula, but they are out of state. And bear with us on this one because this is hard to read. Okay. Units. There's a price.
Before breaking down all the other pieces. This bundle costs $86.50 a month. This is, and then that's the final payment for the Social Security.
Yes. Okay, so, thank you, because this is $8,650.00. And then when you include,
That was the reoccurring monthly.
yes, $8,650. There would be an upfront onboarding fee of $13,200. And that included our licensing for that 1 year, though, right? Months 1 through 12, $15,496.50. Month 13, $14,271.50.
Rico was used to dealing with the feds. They're high military.
Are there any questions?
It's a lot of money.
One to read. Okay.
I want them.
Good. I will do the same thing. I will, make sure that this gets over to you and Mayor, for you to review, along with this one as well.
I thought the other one was expensive.
It's that onboarding too that just,
So why is that for the onboarding? Is that
Skip the middleman now.
resetting everything up into the system where we already have,
that would make sense.
First Call?
Yes. So they would just be taking over everything and setting it up in their system. So redoing everything that we've got right now.
To finance, on First Call that we have right now, is the cybersecurity just as much as the monthly reoccurring today?
Yeah, just about.
It's about the same.
Yeah, and we're working on that.
I know our base rate fee went from $21.48 a month to $2,500. I knew that was gonna go up, they told me it was gonna go up. However, I thought it was gonna be a lot more than $2,500. I actually thought it was gonna be almost $4,000. So, so I was kind of surprised to get that number, or $2,500, I think that's very reasonable. Our .gov emails are $575 a month, that went up $66. So now it's gonna be $641 per month to manage our .gov emails. And then the cybersecurity, I think there's different levels and layers that you can take on the cybersecurity, starting at $1,500 to $2,500. So now that we have this, I can dive into that a little bit more to find out what's the difference between the $1,500 and the $2,500.
Good.
What security does that provide? I think it's super important, especially for public works, to, you know, if we have somebody that hacks our system, it's a pretty costly thing, and we could shut down our public works department. It's kind of scary. So I'll look into that on what that range is and what the difference is. But I just
Shocked by
first
the
call.
data, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, first call's been really good with us. They're very responsive. You know, I like working with them. They're pretty smart.
Okay, yeah. When we were at Fairmont, discussion came up about cybersecurity. And some town back in Ohio or whatever, they got cyber attacked. They took over their water plant and they held them at ransom. And they had to pay over $14 million to get their system back up and running because they didn't have cybersecurity. So it's a big deal. And unfortunately, the cyber people that give us the cybersecurity, they know. So that's why they can raise their rates too, because it's back and forth. You know, you got the people that hack, you got the ones that
Save us.
save us against us, save us, the price keeps going up.
Okay. With the cybersecurity then, if there is a hack job, then they take care of that, but do they also give us an insurance policy that, you know, for the event that it's going to be like 15 million or whatever, like the mayor just said?
So if we don't have cybersecurity from an IT perspective, MMIA is probably not going to
Oh,
look at it very favorably.
MMIA's are liability, and there's the one at the end where we cover that.
Yeah, so it's, they're like, hey, we'll take care of you if you take care of yourself. And so, yeah, I think it's very dangerous if we do not have cybersecurity.
Okay, yeah, right. I'd hate for them to hack into the sewer system and just find what sewers is. That was just a joke. I'll get out of that.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on. Next thing is informational. We had a police commission meeting Tuesday morning. The police commission interviewed and made a recommendation to accept Mr. Otis Ball as our latest police officer. And with that, I would like to have him come up, introduce himself to the council.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Otis Baugh. I've been in the county, in the area, coming up here for about the last 7 years. I have family that lives in Corvallis right now. My past is I was in the military. I was an Army explosives expert. I was EOD. And then now I'm looking to settle down and be in the town and feel part of the community. And I'm happy to be here. I don't know if anybody had any questions for me or
comment. Obviously, you were a good IED expert because you're here and you make a good officer as well.
Thank you. The running joke in my community is good EOD tech has all of his fingers and toes, and I do.
I can't see your toes.
Just like to say welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, you have a good boss too.
Absolutely. Well, you want to add anything else? It was a pleasure meeting everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay. Well, item number E, subscription for QWare. That was in here in the past, kind of went away. And now we want to keep a closer track on everything, whether it's public works down there mainly, whether it's scheduling, backups, all that stuff. Steve Cruz, when he was here, he did a pretty good job at it. And now Steve has agreed to get back on that. Now that we have somebody in the park system that we just hired that could take some of the burden off and we can spend more time doing that. So I just thought that, it was budgeted for last year and we're gonna put a budget again this year. How much was it?
2,600 a year.
We've had it for years. George had it. Steve Cruz had it. Councilmember Barker.
Can you explain what the QWare is and what it does, please?
Do you guys remember when we used to get your reports from Steve Cruz in the packet and you had one that had your waters and gallons?
Correct.
And then the other report that came with it, that was usually all.
Completed tasks. Is
Yeah,
that-
Work order management.
Work order.
Got you, okay.
That's my example I used to give you.
Yeah,
So
that's good, because like, to know what the name was, I had no idea. I just thought it was a report that you guys had put through there.
You just saw it in like a PDF.
Correct.
Yes. What we
Who was
did, the date we did it.
And who was working on it at that
And
time or when it
who
was
was assigned
completed?
to.
Correct,
Yeah.
okay.
So when,
Go ahead, Tina.
just to tell you kind of what it does from an MMIA perspective. So it tracks everything. So sewer is one of the biggest items that MMIA looks at, and it's one of the most expensive claims that they get from every town in the state of Montana. And this is what MMIA was telling me. They always ask when there's something that goes wrong that I have to submit a claim from. They're like, okay, what is the history on this particular item? What's happened? What have you done? All that kind of stuff. Well, we don't know. If Stephen writes it down in a book and Stephen leaves, that book goes with Stephen and it doesn't stay with the town. So it's really important, I think, from a liability standpoint for the town to be able to have that historical data to capture so that when something comes up, we can refer back. Yes, we had a blockage at this place, at this address, this is what we've done, and this is the preventative maintenance that we're doing right now to take care of it going forward. And when you do that, they're more likely to look favorable on a claim like, okay, the town of Stevens was doing something about that, we don't have a problem paying for these claims. If there's something that comes up and we have no historical data, we don't have anything but backup, that this place is backed up 3 times in the last 5 years, they're gonna say, yeah, you guys gotta pay for it all yourself this time. So it's really, really important for a historical aspect for the town of Stevensville. That's the value that it provides.
Any other questions on the QWare? All right, we'll move on to item number F, discussion decision, RFP for prosecution services for the Stephenville City Court. As you see there, Melanie Desario sent us email a while back saying that she is resigning by the end of the year. She's moving to Bozeman. And I know we brought that up last year, you and Mr. Cruz, about the city attorney being the prosecuting attorney. So I looked at the opinion that I got from Greg, that basically that we can't farm it out.
Yeah.
So with that, can I get a motion, please? This is just put an RFP out for Melanie's replacement. Councilmember Parker.
I make a motion to approve an RFP for prosecution services for the Stevensville City Court.
We have a motion by Councilmember Parker. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second by Councilmember Gregg. Do we have any further discussion from the council? Councilmember Parker.
How effective was this position to have for the courts?
You have to have it.
We have to have it for
Yeah,
the,
You have to have a prosecuting attorney.
okay.
Yeah, we have to by law. have to have it. Any other comments from the council? Any comments from the public on an RFP for the prosecuting attorney?
Let me shoot a question.
Go ahead.
Have you talked with Great Lakes lately if he can take up prosecutions again?
He said if between this and Phillipsburg, he would rather not. If it came right down to it, if we don't get any RFPs for it, then he would reconsider. But as of right now, he would like to just keep it. Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Bragg.
Aye.
Councilmember Barker.
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number G, discussion decision resolution number 547A, a resolution establishing a lighting district taxes for the town of Stephenville, Montana, fiscal year 25-26. And I would like to ask the council to table this one because when Gina Robert put that out, it was based on the information that they had gotten at the time. But then yesterday, 2 more revenue tax checks came in. And Dan Weitzel came in yesterday afternoon to pay the water bill, and he said, that's on me, I was late getting them out. Sorry about that, so we can table that, and we'll bring it back next council meeting, and then that, it will even be lower than this, so that should help the citizens. With that, can I get a motion? Councilmember Gray.
I move to table resolution number 547A, a resolution establishing lighting district taxes for the town of Stevensville, Montana, fiscal year 2025 to 2026.
We have a motion by Councilmember Gray, do we have a second? Councilmember Smith.
We'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second by Councilmember Smith, do we have a discussion from the council? Seeing none, do we have a discussion from the public? Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Barker.
Aye.
Councilmember Bragg.
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, discussion decision, lease and operating agreement between the town of Stephenville and the rural fire district. So as you know, we held 2 COW meetings, one a while back, and then we held one here last week, where the rural fire end came over. We made the changes that the council suggested we do. So with that, could I get a motion, please? Council members?
I move that we accept the lease and operating agreement between the town of Stevensville and Rural Fire District.
We have a motion by Councilmember Smith. Do we have a second? Councilmember?
Second motion.
We have a motion, we have a second by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a further discussion from the council on the lease? Councilmember Barker.
So after everything was all said and done, I know that the rule was gonna go back and meet with their company. Did they come back and everything is okay for them? Or
We didn't
give
hear
them
any
anything? Okay. No changes, okay, perfect.
They accepted them to do that. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
And this is on the lease and operating agreement. Councilmember Barker.
Aye.
Councilmember Bragg.
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number I, discussion decision, sublease and operating agreement between the town of Stephenville, the fire department, and rural. Again, this was discussed at the COW meeting. With that, can I get a motion, please? Councilmembers?
I move to accept the sublease and operating agreement between the town of Stevensville Fire Department and Rural.
We have a motion by Councilmember Smith. Do we have a second? Councilmember Bragg.
I second.
We have a motion. We have a second by Councilmember Bragg. Do we have a discussion on the sublease and operating agreement between the town and the rural? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Janelle, will you please take the vote?
And this one's on the sublease and the operating agreement. Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Bragg.
Aye.
And Councilmember Barker.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number J, discussion decision, interlocal agreement between the town of Stephenville and the rural fire district. This is the last part. Councilmember Smith.
I move to accept interlocal agreement between the town of Stevensville and Rural Fire District.
We have a motion by Councilmember Smith. Do we have a second? Councilmember Barker.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion. We have a second by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a discussion from the council? Do we have a discussion from the public? None, seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
On the interlocal agreement, Councilmember Bragg?
Aye.
Councilmember Barker?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Motion passes 3-0. Okay, item number 8, discussion decision, permission to bid on the street sweeper. So yesterday, Mr. Lassiter and I went down to Three Forks and we got to look at the street sweeper. I got a picture there in front of you. It's a really sweet little unit. Looks like they babied it and made some modifications on their own. But they got a grant, which they were able to get a brand new, bigger sweeper, so they put this one up for surplus. And we were able to talk, he started it up for us, it purred like a kitten. It's got new brushes, the vacuum on the back works really well. I think it's a no-brainer, but what I noticed down there, every piece of equipment down there in Three Forks is almost new. So I asked the public works director, I said, how do you guys, you're surplusing stuff out that's in good shape. And he said, we use 25% of our gas tax money total every year, and we put that in for capital improvements for sweepers, plows, stuff like that. So got back here yesterday and we talked to Robert and Gina. So we're going to start doing a budget amendment. We're going to start putting money away to be able to pay for some of this stuff because our equipment in town is failing in a bad way, a lot of it, and it needs to be upgraded. And this is a way to do it. So that can I get
Can I ask you, what year is this one?
1998 model.
98. And we want how much for it?
The bid is $10,000.
10,000. Oh, that's just a bid, this is a bid that's going on to like the auction?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I see.
We might never get it.
May not get it, huh? Okay.
That's gonna be the motion. Councilmember Ray.
I move to accept permission to bid on a street sweeper.
We have a motion to put a bid in on the street sweeper down at Three Forks. And by the way, the bids close on July 1st, which they will open the bids, and if anybody from a town or county bids on it, then they get it. It doesn't go any further. But if nobody bids on it, then they open it up to the public until July 8th. Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second by Councilmember Smith to bid on the street sweeper. Have any further discussion from the council? Councilmember Buck.
Can you tell us why we need to have a street sweeper?
Yeah. We need a street sweeper. That's one of the biggest gripes I hear in all my walking, long before I was a mayor. Why don't we have a street sweeper? Look at it down the streets, Main Street, the side streets, it's dusty. So it leaves, this has a vacuum in the back that can pick up the leaves in the fall. People they want. Councilmember Ray.
As somebody who's walked every street in this town, people leave trash everywhere and it all ends up on the side of the road. And this would definitely help to clean that up.
Remember last year before the market, there's nothing we can do about it.
If this thing would pick up the fall leaves in front of my house, that's a deal.
Steve, you wanna come in what he said?
You gotta put them back.
He says on the 4th of July in Three Forks, they have a Main Street celebration. And he said the next day, they have beer bottles and cans and trash and everything. He said it goes along with that thing and it sucks up pizza boxes. He said he said.
It picks up everything.
So we can clean up the alley,
Well,
where everybody's stuff comes,
No,
it
it's-
just flows in here.
Yeah, it's a sweet unit, that's why, it's a must have, I think. Any comment from the public on the street sweeper? Yes.
Is there a maximum that you're willing to bid, or is it, you've opened it up to place a bid, but you don't, how much are you willing to bid, is my
Well,
question.
12,000. Because if we put like a 15,000 and nobody bids on it, it's like we bid $5,000, and then we talked to the guy over there, and nobody had bid on it yet. But they also said at the last minute, somebody will put in a $10,000 $1, 10,001.
Right.
Then somebody else will, well, that's what they'll bid, I'll put it 10,500. So I figured we went in the middle of the road. Steve,
Steve Gibson, Stevensville, you obviously need one. And Gina, we knew this before, that you could take 25% of the bars money for equipment.
I did not know that.
Well, Steve Cruz knew it, we knew it.
I didn't know anything about it.
Robert didn't know it either, so,
Well, Steve Cruz did.
yeah.
Because we talked about that, because we had the old sweeper, if you remember, and all it did was throw dirt.
Yep.
No, you definitely need one, and the Barson money's, you can always use 25% of the Barson money for equipment, and I assume you're still taking about 90,000 here,
Yeah.
Barson?
I have a question. With this street sweeper, what all areas would it cover? Is it just Main Street or is it all of our streets?
All of them.
All the streets? And then what does it cost to maintain it and does that just go in the regular fund of maintaining?
The brushes are $1,000 those to replace, there's 5 brushes on it, but they're brand new, you just replace them. So that's $1,000, they'll wear out eventually, they're stiff, poly, but, and they're on that kind for the asphalt all the time.
So then before you guys come to my street, I can push the stuff out and
That's
just
the
stick
guy
on my
that-
sidewalk?
Oh,
Yeah, it's long, it's long.
Come see Mr. McKinley now, Colin. Is it coming yet? Is it?
For the Public Works Director?
Yes.
About how long do you think those brushes will last?
oh, shoot. 2-3 years, at least.
How?
Several years, 2, 3, 4 years.
Okay.
Depends, you know, he said he sucked up some, chip seal with it, that tore him up pretty bad. So he said, stay away from chip seal, they just had a road chip seal. But our regular, like all the sand that we throw in the winter, our just regular sweeping, years, maybe 4 or 5.
Okay, thank you.
It's not a yearly replacement.
Any other comments from council? Go ahead.
All right, so I'm taking, we're giving permission to bid 10,
No, the minimum bid is 10.
minimum 10, but maximum 12?
Yes.
Right.
We're putting in $12,000.
It ought to be worded that way.
I have another question. How long do these usually last? This is like 1998 is when this one was.
With proper maintenance, they'll last, years and years. Back, like a back, it lasts years and years. And, ours just got beat up and old.
It had 1,700 hours on it, which is not a lot of hours.
Yeah, that's.
That's what he said, and he said, that's not a lot of hours.
That's not a lot for it.
He's the only one that ran it, he's been there 35 years, and he babied that thing.
Yeah, well, you can tell it's not beat up at all.
It looks new almost.
So that we can have it in our parade?
It's kind of slow, that's slow enough for a parade.
Its max speed is 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I would like to rescind our first motion that we had on the table.
Okay.
That was just to quote as a permission to bid on the street sweeper. I think we need to have it as, I make a motion to approve the permission to bid on the street sweeper. The bid starting at 10,000 and going to as high as 12,000.
Before we do
Second
that, should we rescind our first motion? No.
I just did.
We have a motion to rescind, do we have a second?
I'll second
We have
that.
a motion, we have a second, we have a discussion from the council. Discussion from the public. Seeing none, Janelle, would you take a vote?
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Barker?
Aye.
And Councilmember Bragg?
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 5, schedule a budget workshop for July. So we're looking at our schedule and it's a workshop for you guys. We would like to make a motion to have a budget workshop on July 8th at 6:30 and July 9th at 6.
6 o'clock on both of them. We should be fine for 6 o'clock on both of them.
Oh, 6 o'clock on the road.
We have
It
a,
looked like a 3.
so it's great. We have a board meeting.
8th and 9th.
Okay. You have a P and Z meeting it from 5 to 6. Okay. Yeah. On the 9th. And we have a special town council meeting on the 8th at 5:30 to award the SCADA bid from tonight. And the P and Z meeting's on the 9th from 5 to 6.
So we're going July 8th and 9th, correct?
6 o'clock, wasn't it? Councilmember Barker.
I would like to make a motion to approve scheduling budget workshops for July 8th at 6 o'clock and July 9th at 6 o'clock.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a second? Councilmember Bragg.
I second.
We have a motion, we have a second by Councilmember Bragg for the budget workshops, 8th and 9th at 6 p.m. Discussion from the council. Discussion from the public. Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Barker.
Aye.
Councilmember Bragg. Aye. And Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number 9, board reports. Town council comments. Councilmember Smith.
I had, from what I heard earlier today, I'd like to move that we have a closed door executive board meeting with council and the mayor regarding employment policy issues. And I can't get specific.
Could you please repeat what, I couldn't hear what you said?
I'm moving to have a closed door executive board meeting with the council and the mayor regarding employment policy issues.
I can schedule. Is that what you'd like to do? Sure. Is that all you got? Councilmember Barker.
I'd just like to remind everybody with the upcoming 4th of July, that we have specific times and dates that we can set off fireworks within the town's city limits. I believe on July 3rd, it's from 8 until, or excuse me, from, I just read it too.
So 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight on July 3rd, and on July 4th, it's 1,800 hours to midnight.
Thank you. Just kind of reminder to everybody to, and also to be careful with that, especially with the dry season. Also, that we will not be having a fireworks display at the city park. The fire department has put that on in the past. However, liability issues have come up, so they cannot do that. If I'm correct on that. So, however, they will still have the picnics, so do come out and support those folks and still have a good time. Bring your families down to the park, go to Clark Park. So
Florence is having a fireworks show.
they're not incorporated, so they can do whatever they want. So
But this is something that, am I correct, the fire department chose to they did not do this, it had nothing to do with liability. This is just, they chose not to do it this
They
year.
chose not to do it because of the cost of the liability insurance for one day.
Okay.
I mean, it was
I stand corrected, sorry.
astronomical.
Astronomical.
Yes. So it's all right.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll move on. Executive report, I don't have much. On the 17th, we had a meeting with Greg, Janelle, and I with Thomas Ork regarding Berta Farms. We didn't agree on much. So we're going to have another meeting next week, not with Berta Farms, but with Greg and I. And then we're going to get a plan going forward as far as going before the judge on the 31st next month. Tuesday, I had a police commission with Mr. Ball. They confirmed him, as you all know. And I'd like to say that Jared Fisher of Timber Climbing and Construction has agreed to do our disaster pruning of our trees. And he came up with an estimate of approximately $60,000. And this will all be covered by the disaster. And one last thing, Ken Scrivener came in, and as you all know, they're very well respected church-wise. They do a lot of good things for people in town. They're looking for a community garden spot. So I'm just throwing it out there. the Sixth Street Park. Hardly anybody knows about, we all know it's a park, seldom ever used. I'm just putting out there, I was wondering if maybe if I brought this before the park board, if there would be any weighing in option on maybe doing a community garden. The church would be willing to, to do the raised beds. There's already water there, correct, Steve?
Yep.
They would really do the gardening, they would do the growing, and then they would give all the produce to all the community. I think it's a win-win. But like I say, this is just in the talking stages now. It's not going anywhere. We'd have to start with the park board. Park board have to make a recommendation to the council, and we'd have to move forward. But I think it would be a good deal for the town and for the public. Because the park isn't used, other than mowing it and watering it, correct? Steve?
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, even the people that live around it, it's enclosed, they don't even hardly use it, so I think it would be a great deal. So with that, could I get a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. And John, how are you?